Anything else? All right, move on to reports with Councilmember Cardoza.
All right. Yes. We've had a soft couple of weeks this last couple of weeks. I'm going to start off with the meetings. Attended the Regional Housing Authority, on the ad hoc committee. We are updating our bylaws, and we'll be presenting them to our board of directors here at the next meeting here in a couple of weeks for updating of the bylaws. Attended the Yuba City Transit Authority with Councilmember Shaw. We had a presentation on some locations for our next future facility in our communities. Yuba City had a very nice site. Actually, we had two locations. We'll see what happens on that in the future. Sat in on the Cedar Butte's Flood Control Agency meeting and also the Regional Waste Management meeting. Being upgraded, keeping up with the community and our board of directors. I attended the Memorial Community Museum Association meeting just last week. We're preparing the opening of the museum here in the very, very close future. We're getting to that stage where we're going to have some projects that we want to do. Last night, the Chamber had their first ambassadors meeting in person. And there's going to be a lot of things happening in the next few months with the Chamber. For community events, I attended the last day of our Yuba City Certified Farmers Market at Town Center. We had 6 vendors there that morning, and we had a real good turnout with folks coming in and getting produce. We have one lady that does aprons and masks and everything. So we had a very good turnout for the closing day. So it was a good season, a good year, and we're hoping that they'll be back next year for another great turnout for another season. I attended the second Golden Valley Auto Body Impromptu Car Show last Friday night. We had over 60 cars, and it was a big turnout. A lot of community action on Friday night down there. There was lots of folks, a lot of good times, a lot of fun. And also Friday night I attended I don't know if the opening or the grand opening of the Tea Garden Haunted House. And they also had a great turnout. It started off slow, but by the end of the night, they had folks all the way around the corner, down Pluma Street and around the corner on Tea Garden, waiting to go into the haunted house. So we are opening up the community. There's great things happening, and I hope it continues. And we can have great holidays here and that's it for me. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Espindola.
Through the mayor, I've attended 2 meetings this last 2 weeks. The Sutter Butte's Flood Agency. Both of us were present at that meeting along with Councilman Cardoza. Also attended the EDC Board of Directors Committee. And I'm glad that you brought up, Vice Mayor, about the support that the county of Sutter has helped with local businesses. This help has also been equaled by the Yuba County Board of Supervisors. In the last several months, through the CARES Act funding that both counties received, have given and provided a lot of money to local businesses. And on top of that, now they're assisting nonprofit agencies and providing grants. Initially, when they started, they were giving out initial loans, as you can recall, because we were monitoring that. And the majority of the grants or the loans that are being distributed are in the Sutter County area, with no surprise, are for the city of Yuba City businesses. And so that has really benefited our city. The only one business that we know that is closed, but we knew in advance because it was coming our way, was Sears, because that was a corporate decision, but I think that this just moved the decision further ahead. They conducted a survey which gave us a lot of insight, which I can forward to the council so you can have a look at that. And in that, it describes several questions and areas of successes, concerns, outlooks by local businesses in the Bi-County area. And the top 4 things that resulted from the survey is that our local businesses really still needs additional PPP funding, which is the payroll funds through the banks that businesses were able to access. how to market your business in this new climate, this new direction of how we're doing business. Access to capital. A lot of them were needing still more of that. Loans and grant assistance with both Yuba and Sutter County have done this. Marysville City Council has done this. The question came to me from Supervisor Ziegermeyer. Hey, Grace, so when is the city going to do something like that for the businesses? And I assured him that we were thankful that the county was helping our businesses in our area and that we could look at some other ways that perhaps we could help businesses that aren't duplicating the things that they're already doing. If there's anything else that Supervisor Ziegermeyer may need to know, each of you can approach him or give him a call and let him know. The fourth item was on workforce development. This was a lengthy conversation about the need for workforce and a specific type of workforce that we need present and in the future. The challenges are still there with local businesses saying that they're having a hard time finding the qualified employees to work for them, or just not having the available talent locally. I have heard from local farmers that they're having to look out of state, and some are even recruiting out of the country to bring in the type of talent and work in order to do the work here locally in our region. And with all that said, I mentioned about my family having such a challenge with COVID-19 as many other families. And I just want to say my cousin's name. Her name is Abigail, and may she rest in peace, along with her son-in-law. She was 57. He was 36. They're from the same family. Left behind a wife with 3 children and her husband. So bear with me, it's been challenging with our family here in the last several weeks. And I just want to end with, I don't know, lately I've been really just reading and finding quotes and things to give me some direction or help others. Sheryl Sandberg, who is the COO of Facebook, knowing that things could be worse should not stop us from trying to make them better. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilwoman Espadola, we definitely understand and feel, and back when we talk about the chambers, we can find that balance. So don't feel like I was directed at you. We'll find the balance, and definitely feel for you. We all go through our challenges, but I know you've been hit hard, so I want you to know that. The last several weeks have been extremely busy. I, along with the mayor, attended the League of California Cities, their conference. It went virtual this year. A lot of good things, and some of the things that came out of it were kind of funny because we had already kind of talked about things here. And it's amazing how even our city attorney has noticed that we tend to run a little bit ahead of the pace up here with the way that this council thinks. And one of the things most notably was, as you said, you know, we got kind of a new norm, and being able to stand up the city in any environment is going to be part of the new norm. And we had talked about that over the past several months just in passing, but, you know, COVID showed us some things that a lot of businesses and definitely the government wasn't ready to be able to just stand up virtually. And it's amazing, everybody flocked to Zoom, but if we'd have had forewarning about COVID, someone made the comment that the government would have spent 6 years and billions of dollars to figure out they couldn't do it right anyway and gone back to Zoom. But it's amazing how we've learned in this environment to adapt. And so going forward, that's going to be something that we're going to have to take to heart in the city. Was at a SASA meeting just, was it yesterday or Thursday? It was last week, wasn't it? This week. God, I've lost track of days. But they even talked about, you know, being able to basically virtually stand up and doing, you know, license renewals and stuff via the computer. That's going to be the direction of where we're heading, you know, somewhere in the future is we've got to be able to stand up this city no matter what we're faced with. Because for, you know, 100 years, we've asked the city to come to us we got to take the city to them. So that was one thing. And there were several other good things throughout there, but that was one takeaway. Going back to transit, we had that meeting. Very excited for what they presented. We got the report, and the first thing I did was call our wonderful interim city manager and said, hey, you need to take a look at this. Because while there was 2 potential sites in Yuba City, one made the top list in the top 3. And so one of the things that we're going to have to be looking at as a council, all they looked at was the initial pieces of land. Downtime, accessibility, cost of the land, those types of things. They're going to be doing more studies as we go, but we need to look at what kind of benefit that would do to us as Yuba City with bringing jobs here, with having potential revenue here. We want to be pro-business. I think personally, everything I see right now would be a great fit for the city. And the other 2 locations that are out there, because it's all public, are basically out in Yuba County, out past Yuba College on North Bill Road. So it's over there, and it's not right kind of in a hub where the populace is and things. So we're going to have to be looking at that, and we're going to have to be made aware of the great opportunity that we could have before us with having a brand new state-of-the-art transit facility here. And Mr. Martin has had some other things in his narrative that could be partnered up. So we're going to have to take a look at that and see if that's something that we, really need to be taking a look at. The RWMA had a great meeting with them. And again, it goes back to League of California Cities as well, because we've all been dealing with SB 1383 for the food waste recycle, diversion, whatever you want to call it, and our local authority here, and the things that are coming down between next year and 2025, I think is when or 24 is when they start imposing fines. At the end of the day, the bottom line is all of the jurisdictions need each other to make sure we comply. And with the RWMA, the only thing that came out of that was the direction of how to move forward, because we were at fork in the road. And with all the new regulations that are there, it could be basically disband the RWMA and put all that responsibility and increased cost back on the municipalities themselves, or amend the JPA and make the RWMA look something different. So that is in the works. No decision was made other than the fact of go gather that and start figuring out what that's going to look like so they can come before all the municipalities and be bringing it. So my anticipation is that will probably come before us early next year to be looking at. The time frame is if they move forward with the amended JPA, they would want to try to start that with the beginning of the new fiscal year or relatively close, because we have to have things ready to go 1 year after that. Want to reiterate what the vice mayor said earlier, and our interim city manager, you're doing a fabulous job. You are there to pick up the phone, and when we get those things like from transit and go, hey, what do you think of this? Or, hey, what do you think of that? You're doing a great job, and I just want to say thank you. And one more thank you I want to say to our fire chief. As you and I have had conversations, I've got a lot of friends in St. Helena, Calistoga, was over there Saturday. And the neighborhood that you guys saved with your strike team and looking at what was done over there, they send back their gratitude and many thanks because they pointed out when I was talking to them about the neighborhoods that you had shared with me, how others were lost, but you guys held your line, and that speaks volumes to the caliber of a fire chief that we have, that you guys saved an entire neighborhood. So I just want to say thank you from myself on behalf of my friends over there, because they lived that tragedy and they are very much appreciative of that. So thank you, Chief. On other fronts, a lot of things going on with ad hoc committees, Bogue Master Plan, City Manager, Budget. The list could go on and on. The work is ongoing, and just know that we're working as fast and as hard as we can to do what's in the best interest of everybody in Yuba City. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Along with Councilman Shaw, attended the Sutter Animal Services Authority meeting on October 19th this week. A good report from Megan Anderson. Interestingly enough, they are down in responses, and it was kind of interesting to listen to their activity down there. I think how she explained it was, more people were probably at home, so Fido or Fifi the cat weren't getting out because people were home and they weren't, the gates weren't open, et cetera. But they continue to do good work despite COVID and trying to, like Councilman Shaw said, standing up and doing the good work that they do. They do have some challenges in front of them, and as a SASSA board member, along with Councilman Shaw, we will be dealing with what their priorities are as they continue to move forward as far as enforcement, et cetera. Because they have limited staff. And when you consider tasking them with certain things, it's obviously ability to pay. So we will be dealing with that as a SASSA board. I do want to spend a moment talking about the city manager recruitment. We'll be able to go into more detail in a future meeting. The application period closes on October 23rd, which is this Friday. I will share from the recruiters that we have a very plentiful and robust application, have received plentiful and robust applications, so I'm encouraged by that, and we will begin that process after the 23rd of singling out applicants and then moving forward with the process. Along with Councilman Shaw on the master tax exchange agreement, I think we were awaiting a response from the county. Did we get that today?
They think they're going to give it to me tonight or tomorrow.
Okay, perfect. So there is some headway being made. We have provided an option. They were going to scrutinize the option. Again, this is a key component in getting Bogue Stewart Master Plan underway, and I'm encouraged by the dialogue and the current cooperative nature of those discussions. To Councilwoman Espandola, I want to share my condolences, and I agree with Councilman Shaw. I'm just looking for options. I'm not suggesting anything other than that, and I hope that again, as a group, and we've done pretty good about coming to consensus in regards to addressing everybody's needs. But I do think the public needs to be engaged, and I 100% agree with continuing to keep it virtual for those who want to exercise that option. We're getting, three of us are concluding our midterm, if you will. We've been at this now for 2 years, and no one could ever, I think, predict some of the challenges that we as a council have undertaken, nor could we predict the challenges that the staff has. So I know sometimes I get a little syrupy with my praise for staff, but I don't care. They're doing a good job, and nobody's perfect, and certainly they, like myself, don't always do things that are perfect, but I know they're out there trying the best that they can. And with that, I don't think I have anything else to say, sir. I'll turn it back to you.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Yes, a very busy last couple of weeks. The COVID, we're kind of relaxing. We're kind of going down in one of our tiers. And it's important that we've read in the paper and heard a lot that to stay focused and take proper precautions. We want to reopen. We want to hear from people. We want people to participate. We want to get back to the old normal, at least close to as we can. But we have to be responsible. We've had an example tonight of something that hit home 3 times. It's what we want to avoid, and we don't want that to repeat. So we want to be smart, but we still want to get hear from folks. So I appreciate all the suggestions and the opinions here tonight on that regard. I did have a SACOG meeting, and I am remaining to have connectivity issues, so my notes are not available to me, nor are they available to me from Sabuvka. However, I do recall from SACOG that we discussed the budget for this funding round that's going through right now. Many millions of dollars up for grabs based on different projects and the blueprint they've established. We are on the radar up there with some zones in our neighborhood that we want, or excuse me, our city that we want to submit possibly for consideration. I did attend virtually the League of California Cities annual conference. It was 3 days of fun. And I am our voting delegate here from Yuba City. In the General Assembly, we voted on one resolution. However, there was not a quorum present. So it was basically, we all voted, the majority voted in favor of a resolution holding websites, and online social media folks accountable for when their websites are used to facilitate violence or hate-related assemblies or events. Again, we did not have a quorum, so the majority of those of us were present. We voted. We're going to move it on to the main board as a recommendation, I believe is what it comes down to, advisory. I did also attend the League of California Cities Mayor's Department business meeting. They had a featured speaker from CalPERS who primarily focused on the discount rate and how it is determined. They did, of course, we all know probably that they need 7%, but they did manage, and she mentioned, one other way to say they were proud of the fact, given the environment they have and the uncertainty that they had to deal with, that they were able to manage to get a 4.77%. It also reminded us that the discount rate is a blend of the 10-year projections and the 30-year projections, which I immediately thought of you because you would understand what that meant. I don't. So the risk tolerance, they're asked, okay, so for the board, they're going to decide, is a 20% swing okay? Do we want 10%? How much public equity versus private equity? Drawing from the series of community meetings we had here in these chambers regarding the unfunded liability, I expressed the concern that was expressed in this room to the group about politicizing the investment strategy rather than focusing primarily on opportunities and the rate of return. So they did clarify that, the priority is member benefits and politics would ideally not be involved, but in reality, board members are board members and they still bring their opinions and their concerns to the table. So they're trying to get through that. They do review divestments and such as tobacco, thermal coal, where those are specific examples that were brought up and they're reviewed regularly. And they just state the need to be opportunistic and that some board members, of course, don't appreciate the level of risk necessary to obtain the desired return. So they had to balance a high appetite for return with a low appetite for risk. So when there's many board members down there, it's a difficult nut to crack sometimes. But they acknowledge that, yes, politics don't have a place in that environment, but nevertheless, they're doing the best they can to manage, but it's almost impossible to get rid of it entirely. Let's see here. Well, like I said, I'm dead in the water as far as technology goes, and Gil Sizer was canceled. So I do the best I can to let you know. Tom, we don't have public comment or anything, but do you have anything, something real quick?
Well, yeah. Would you mind elaborating on what you talked about with the City League and the online presence?
The City League and the online presence.
You said you didn't have a quorum, but you voted.
Oh, yeah, we didn't, well, we voted, so, okay, yes, I will, thank you for asking. You have to have, say, a quorum present, which is usually managed, okay? So we didn't have a quorum, but we voted nevertheless anyway. So a majority of the people that were there voted in favor of the resolution, and it goes to the full board basically as advisory, not as a full-on recommendation. Oh, it was a resolution, and I don't have the entire thing in front of me, just have my notes that I wrote by hand during the meeting, holding, and it's on the website too, League of California Cities, but holding websites accountable, social media outlets accountable when some folks go and they organize a riot, for example, hate-related or violence-related, by way of this website, they're going to hold them accountable for doing that. Now, there's some debate back and forth, First Amendment, all the other things. Is that fair? We're going to start quashing folks. It went back and forth. Majority of folks, given the totality of that resolution, voted in favor. All right. That being said, thank you all. Ben, if you have 2 minutes after this, I'd appreciate it.
Through the mayor, can we
Yes, ma'am.
congratulate Sierra? This is her first
I
one.
can. She's got a mask over there. Thank you, Sierra.
Thank you, Sierra. It's our,
And her first meeting tonight.
yes.
That's why Judy's sitting over there. And she's happy about that. Yeah. All right, good job. All right, thank you, Sierra. All right, we're closed. Thank you.